Hey guys, Flabaliki here today and welcome to another Planet Coaster build. Today I am making Nagini's Revenge, obviously based off of the snake, Voldemort's snake from Harry Potter. I also just realized that this is the second Harry Potter name inspired thing I've built on the channel, which is actually completely coincidental. I don't know. I think, and I spoke about this before, I think I am going to be the one ending up recreating the Harry Potter world in Planet Coaster. No plans, no promises, but anyway, so this, I have to apologize right off the bat. The very beginning of this video, the first couple of bits here are actually only recorded in 720p. That was a mistake on my part because I was live streaming it and I hit record, but I forgot to record it in 1080. So apologies for that. The beginning will look a little bit rougher than the rest of it, but it will start looking better very, very shortly, I promise you. So I'm finally getting to the place in Planet Coaster where I'm starting to get really, really used to all of the tools and I know what I'm doing for the most part. So I'm able to start building some more intricate things. I mean, not to say that Paragon Alley wasn't intricate, but now I am really tying this coaster into some buildings that I put around it, and I'm really making this quite a compact coaster in itself. It sort of wraps around and sort of ducks under and ties knots around itself, if you will. Hence the snake-inspired name. I would have loved to have changed the color of the coaster, but unfortunately we can't change colors yet. You know, probably like a black or like a dark green would have been a good color to go for here. But, you know, we're going to deal with the blue just because we have to, really. So anyway, yeah, as you can see, it does a lot of sweeping curves, a lot of little bumpity hills. Apologies, I don't know the technical coaster terms for these things, but yeah, no, it has a lot of banks. It has a very nice overbank curve at the very beginning, and yeah, it kind of took on a snake vibe / personality as it sort of started to develop, and especially as I built the castle around it, because this does have a pretty epic castle built around it, almost to the point where the castle overshadows the coaster, which I'm kind of okay with, but you know, probably the coaster should have been a little bit more of a centerpiece, but at the end of the day, I think it looks pretty damn awesome regardless. So anyway, I've just built the exit there. It looks kind of weird, the pathway, but once all the buildings around it, it makes a little bit more sense. I did the exit over there because that actually exits directly into Paragon Alley that has a whole bunch of shops around it. So I thought that would be good to feed all of the guests back toward the shopping alley rather than to the dead main street. Like, we have this main pathway in this park that is completely dead. I don't know why. To be fair, this was the first real park I've built in Planet Coaster. Not a whole lot of forethought went into the actual park design. You may have seen, I kind of just fell into building this park. Like, I built one coaster at the beginning, then I decided to build the next part of the park here, and then this bit, and it's kind of falling into a park. So at some point in the future, when I start building a new park, I will definitely plan it out a lot more than this one. But having said that, I still think each individual part is pretty sweet, and I'm really excited for this one as well. Definitely, this is taking all of the stuff I've learned from building structures in this game to a whole new level. So you can see I'm actually building loads of separate structures this time. So the initial castle build on the other ride was I think that was mostly one big structure around the coaster station, which is fine because I think it turned out really, really good, but that was the first thing I built, so I was still kind of learning it. And then I built Paragon Alley, where I built, you know, about 12 different little houses or shops or whatever you want to call them, and they were all on different angles. But they were all still separate structures. Now, what I wanted to do with this castle was, you know, really build it up. It's going to be loads of different buildings, but it's going to all look like one building. So it's going to have all of these different angles, all of these different shapes playing into the design of it. And you'll see that sort of developing as I start building more and more. Here I'm just adjusting the coaster because it didn't actually have enough speed. I wanted it to go a little bit faster. So you can see I'm just testing it out here, and there it goes. And I think at that point it does have enough speed, which is great. Because it was a little bit boring to start off with. So now I was originally going to connect it directly to the shop building and make it all one structure, but it didn't work. I mean, it gets pretty close. It's pretty much next door to it when it sort of exits that building there. But yeah, most of this video is just building up the scenery, because I mean that's kind of what this is all about, isn't it? And I love I mean, it's insane. There's some I've been watching a bunch of videos here on YouTube of what other people are doing, and they've made some really cool things. There was what's his name? Silveret. I don't know if that's how you say it, Silveret. Anyway, he's got a whole bunch of and I've known about him for ages. He's done a whole bunch of City Skyline stuff, Roller Coaster Tycoon stuff, and now he's obviously doing Planet Coaster. And he built this amazing sort of Main Street Disney-esque kind of vibe with, you know, the pirate theme and the generic modern theme. He somehow managed to make it look sort of Victorian, which I think just speaks volumes about what you can do in Planet Coaster. And that's what I'm really excited about. And that's exactly what you're seeing here as well, is the fact that the amount of stuff you can do. And simply just putting different, like this building on like slightly different angles and angling different parts of the structure, it gives it a whole nother layer of complexity. So now I'm actually building around the coaster here. So the coaster actually swoops down through the castle and comes back up. Initially, it does cut your head off, but I did adjust it far later on when I was testing it out a little bit more. Because this build, I think the coaster and the structure, I think it was about 3.5 hours from start to finish, but I did it over a couple of days because I've been doing so much live streaming lately. By the way, I did live stream part of this, not all of it, but I'm definitely live streaming a lot more Planet Coaster. So if this is something that interests you and you do want to see these kind of builds, but in real time, and, you know, just hang out in the live stream chat, make sure to follow my Twitch channel. The link to that will be down below in the description. You'll see my Twitch page. You click on that, go follow, then you can be alerted of upcoming streams and all of that kind of good stuff, because I've been streaming it quite a lot, and it's kind of fun to hang out with you guys. So if you wanted to see this kind of stuff in real time, that's the place to go. This place here on YouTube is for speeding it up and making it look fancy. So around that coaster chain lift, I don't know. I thought that kind of like wooden support structure looked pretty. It just looked interesting. It added just, I don't know, it added like little layers of detail there. I mean, it does absolutely nothing, but it kind of looks like it's there to support the chain lift, which I thought was pretty cool anyway. So I'm just going around the castle, adding loads of random pieces to make it look much more intricate. And that's what it's all about, really. And I guess that's one of the biggest tips that I could give if you're struggling to maybe build things, or you want, you know, you just want tips on how to make your buildings look better, is just build your basic structure and then just keep adding stuff onto it. Literally just keep adding stuff until you're like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. And then that's pretty much the way I go about it anyway. Like, and that for me, that's true not only in Planet Coaster, but in other games that I'm building as well. Like, that's true over in The Sims. I will usually build like a box of a house, and then I just keep adding onto it until it looks like something that's kind of cool. So yeah, that's actually a really good tip for when you're trying to build something that looks much more intricate. Whoops, hit my keyboard. That looks much more intricate. Is just keep going with it. Keep going with it, but don't overdo it. That's important. But yeah. Anyway, so the queue room on this ride, I really regret. Don't get me wrong, I think I'm really happy with the outcome, but you'll kind of see why. So the pathway itself, you can see, is really curvy. There's a lot of corners, and it means there's a lot of rounded edges. And you can also see right now, the way I'm building this structure, it's all the outside walls are at different angles as well. So it made it really hard to decorate the inside because the pathway has curved edges and the walls are all at different angles. So it means the problem was I had a lot of grass patches in there. There's a lot of patches of grass that I had to try and cover up because I mean, in hindsight, and this is what I should have done, but by the time, you know, I thought about doing it, I'd already done so much. What I should do really is build a floor before I put down a queue path. Like, I should put down a whole scenery flooring, then put the queue path on top of that, because that would make it, you know, way easier. And that's exactly what I'm going to do next time, because by the time I started doing it here and I thought about it, I was like, it's too late. So it's really weird. I found that those rendered, those brown kind of rendered wall arches, those fit over the coaster tracks, but the castle wall arches don't, even though they're exactly the same size. So that's probably a bug, and it's really annoying. So that's why I use those different arches over the coaster track. But once it's all sort of built in together and it's all themed, you don't actually really notice it. I just thought I'd point that out as I was placing them down, because you might have been going, what the hell is he doing? Yeah, that's what I was doing, in case you were wondering. So yeah. Anyway, just going through, adding a bunch of different levels, adding some roof pieces on here and there. And you can see that they all sort of overlap at interesting angles. So yeah, this castle is much more angular than the first kind of one I built, which for some reason, I don't know, there's a lot of castles on this map. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I cannot wait, though, until we have... And I said this in every video so far. And if you're watching this in the future, you're like, but they already have it. But I can't wait for terrain editing. Really, it's going to make everything so much better. I mean, as soon as you get, like, the ability to make an epic mountain, building a ride around that with a castle on it and all this other crazy stuff is going to be so much fun. It's gonna be crazy. But let's get back to what we're doing right now. Just adding some exterior details to the castle. Just adding sort of like those window pieces to add that layer to the exterior wall. Otherwise, you just have this really flat wall. So just adding those window pieces gives it a bit more detail, but doesn't make it look awful, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so the front at that point was looking pretty good. I was pretty happy with the front, but the back of it was looking really quite empty. Using those little, I think they're actually coaster track cutout pieces. They're using those as crenellations for the top of the castle, so that worked quite well. Yeah, so I finally found out that if you use those those turret castle pieces, if you use that on a building grid, it'll make the grid into a quarter tile grid, as you can see. I got the quarter tile grid there. And then if you place a floor piece, it will mean you can move walls up and down way more finitely. Finitely? Way more in small increments. So if you place the turret piece and then a floor piece, you have a smaller grid and you can move walls up and down at smaller increments, which is really helpful when you're building, because you don't always want a wall directly on top of the other, and you don't always want everything directly on the same grid. So you'll see if I place, no, I didn't place a quarter tile grid thing there, but if I did, it would have made the grid smaller. So just adding a little bit that goes over the top of the coaster track so that the building is sort of interacting more with the coaster, because to be fair, the original plan wasn't to have a big castle built around here. But then as I started doing it, I was like, this is awesome. I need to start building more stuff that sort of interacts with the coaster. So the coaster is sort of flying underneath certain parts of the building as well. So I was just building another little structure here that it could go underneath and sort of fly through. So then you just get some more visuals as you're going around the coaster. Because this was supposed to be a very compact kind of ride anyway. The first one I built was much bigger. But this one, the idea was to make it as sort of compact as I could. I don't know why I tried to add a door into that, or windows, but anyway, I took them away because it didn't make any sense. I also just realized there that those windows were not on the wall at all. And I couldn't get rid of that one. There's a bug at the moment where sometimes items just become unclickable. I did build this building. That was not in this time lapse because it wasn't really that notable, but I was just moving it back off the main pathway because I was just encroaching a little bit too much, in case you're wondering there. Yeah, where are we doing now? Oh yeah, so this is where I tested the coaster and realized that it completely cut your head off going through there. So this is where I'm fiddling around with the building, trying to give it more space to actually fit through. You know, so that we don't kill anybody on the coaster, because not that they can die on the coaster, but if they could, that would be great. I mean, I want to make this, somewhat realistic. And this coaster by no means is realistic because it just isn't. Whoop! Dropped a little adapter on the floor is what I dropped, in case you're wondering. What is that? A quarter inch? No, it's an eighth inch audio jack to quarter inch. I'm used to 3 mil to 6 point. Is it 6.1 mil? 6.3 mil. Oh, anyway, whatever. I'm going to stop talking about that now. Yeah, so as you can see, just messed around the walls there. I was just pausing it as I was testing the coaster to see if it actually fit through quite nicely. Now, there's no terrain editing now, but as I have been watching a lot of Silverette stuff, in that park that I was mentioning that he was doing as well, he built an entire mountain out of rocks. And I couldn't stomach doing an entire mountain, but I loved the idea and it turned out really well. So I thought I would take some inspiration from him And I thought I'd make this sort of overbank curve. It would sort of overbank up onto these rocks and sort of, so you're sort of skating along the side of those rocks and coming back down. So, because I thought he turned out really well when he did it. So I was like, hell yeah, gonna give that a go. That was a really cool idea. And I just can't believe he built an entire mountain. It would have taken him hours and hours. Oh, there's no way I could have done that. But I was just extending that little structure so it sort of joined onto my little rock mountain there. Yeah, but yeah, no, seriously, when there's terrain editing, oh my god, it's going to be amazing. Where are we up to now? Yeah, so I think at this point, I'm mostly just landscaping around the exterior of the castle and the coaster. Thought I'd do this little rock loop. So like on the initial drop, you come through, you're like whooshing through there, and you're like, oh my god, almost hit me head, but you don't because it's safe, I'm going to assume. Yeah, just a little bit of fun. I thought I'd just get some nice little bushes, little flower bushes, just by using that tree and actually sinking it into the ground. Just get a little bit more formal landscaping around that section. And then we're just going back to just crazy kind of pirate theme with palm trees and all that kind of wacky stuff here and there around the rest of the coaster, just to make it look quite lush and quite full and quite dense as well. So we are still doing scenery, actually, is what we're doing. Getting some little lights over the pathway. That pathway is not used at all right now because there's nothing on it. I'm thinking I might put some more stores down that way or something. I don't know. But, yep. Just getting a few more rocks around here as well because we do have a lot of rocks going on the other side there. So it's probably a good idea to continue that theme throughout the ride. A lot of rocks, a lot of dodging them. And there goes the coaster running through it all as well. Just getting a few more scenery items just randomly just to add a little bit of interest here and there. To make, so it's not so bland. It just looks like there's a lot of stuff going on, very busy, and it's supposed to be cool. So now it is nighttime. We are, of course, doing the lighting, and have no fear, I did do the first person queue walk at nighttime because I did a lot of lighting, so it made sense to do it at nighttime. But yeah, so also, I didn't mention yet, I don't think, but of course, there is a download link to this save file down below. So you can go into the description, you can click the download link if you want to use this save file and check it out. This includes Pyragon Alley, obviously, and the Pirates of the Carascreamin, the first coaster I did and the last build. So it's obviously just everything as I go along, updating the save file. So you can check it out. Check out this coaster. You can add on to the park, all that kind of cool stuff, of course. So that is available for you. But yeah. Just going through doing the lighting. And then after the lighting on the outside, I'm like, okay, it's time to go into the queue room because I was originally actually just going to leave the queue room. And then I was like, no, because I put so much effort into the rest of this ride and the rest of the building. There's no way I couldn't leave the queue room unthemed and just have it on grass. It just didn't sit right with me. So I was like, yep. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it look good. I'm going to do the best that I can with the space that I have available. But here it is. The queue room, you can see right now, looks like absolute word that I can't say. So I found that little statue. It's actually a little pedestal thing. I thought, hey, that's perfect for creating like a little tile flooring. So I did that as much as I could. Then I realized I couldn't actually sink it underneath. I was hoping that the pathway would be above the terrain so I could actually fit it underneath the pathway. But that was not possible. So instead, I filled in as much of the flooring as I could with this little pedestal. So it looks like there's some sort of fancy tile going on in here, or as best as I could anyway. And then you'll see what I do. Basically, I just put a whole bunch of scenery and a lot of interesting things in the gaps that still show grass so that you can't see the grass because, this is supposed to be inside. So didn't really want to see any grass. So getting Captain I think it's King Pirate actually is his name, maybe? I don't know. Just getting some nice little lanterns above the pathway for a little bit of atmosphere. So what I kind of wanted to make this place look like, it's supposed to be like a castle marketplace, I guess, if you will. Like an indoor kind of courtyard. It'd be like a courtyard of a castle. We have all the markets and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what the theming I was going after because I obviously got all the fruit baskets and a lot of barrels and all these kind of lantern lighting and all this kind of stuff that just makes it look like a lively little courtyard. The only thing that we're missing is a court jester. That would have been fantastic. But yeah, you'll see that there's a lot of barrels that goes into this place. But yeah. Yeah, no, that's something that I kind of had to do because I had to fit it in. Not fit it in, I had to fill in all the grass patches. The other ways I did it is using some little walls here and there, as you can see, just to sort of cover up the thinner sections that I couldn't actually get any scenery into. Just using a little circle pedestal there to fill in that section. Got another one of these little music stands. Again, the problem is that there's the scenery items that we have are beautiful, and there's no denying that, but there's not a whole lot of them, which is unfortunate because it makes it hard to vary a lot of this space. But I still think it turned out actually really, really well in the end. And once we do the first person walkthrough, you'll get a good look at it. Because obviously right now we're speeding through. But once it goes nighttime, we do the first person walkthrough. I think it actually looks pretty damn sweet. I'm definitely happy with it. It probably could have used a little bit more planning out of the interior, because when I built this coaster, I was planning the exterior the entire time, not once thinking about the interior until the very end, which was definitely my mistake. But like I said, I'm still very happy with it, and I think it turned out pretty damn. So as you can see here, as we go to nighttime, you can see the lighting, and it's just looking fun. It is looking fun in there. So yeah, I had to go to nighttime so we could start lighting the interior as well and get a bunch of lights going on around here. So getting some white spotlights just to get some general lighting. Then we get a bunch of colored lighting as well. So I wanted to make the King Pirate, I wanted to make him look a little bit sinister. So we got some very harsh red lights on him there. So he looks like he's the bad guy, you know. I don't know, maybe Nagini is his snake. If I could get Lord Voldemort in here, I totally would. But we're very close to the first person walkthrough, so I'm about to leave you here. Thank you so much for watching if you did. Again, the download link is just below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you look forward to some more Planet Coaster videos, because that's pretty much all I'm posting right now, because I'm having way too much fun with it. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and enjoy the walkthrough.